You have the sound now? I believe people are on the Eid holiday mode already. So just a confirmation before we start, if anybody can confirm us on the Zoom if you guys are seeing the screen properly, the one we shared, and the sound is clear, so we can formally start today's session. I believe we get the confirmation for the sound. If you can confirm, if you can see the screen that we have shared. Can anybody drop a message on the chat? Okay, so we'll now start with today's event. Today the topic we have chosen is the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. So the reason we choose this topic is that to see how ISO certifications or ISO standards can help the companies, the organizations to participate in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. And for the audience or for the people who heard this term SDGs for the first time, we'll cover some background of the SDG, and after covering the history, the background, and some principles of the SDGs and what are the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, then we will try to have a look on how different ISO standards are impacting the performance of each SDG. So this is the agenda for today's session. Again, if you have any questions, you can drop the questions in our chat box. I have team with me. We have Mr. Shiraz, who will be the chat admin or the Zoom admin. Mr. Shiraz, if you'd like to open your camera and show your beautiful face to the people who's joining us today.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
And on my left side, I have Ms. Surbi with me. Ms. Surbi, can you come in the camera? She is managing our YouTube channel. You can come here. Behind me, no problem. People can see you, right?
Am I visible now? Sure, if I am.
Yeah, you are. So here we have Ms. Surbi. She is our basically YouTube channel manager for today's event. Thank you so much, madam. Now you can have your seat. And as usual, to start with the session, we will start with the introduction of our company for the people who are joining us for the first time. And today we have Ms. Hiba with us, who will give us a brief introduction about W3 Solutions before we will move ahead with our training. Yes, Ms. Hiba, please. The floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. My name is Hiba, and I'm going to introduce W3 Solutions and its services. We are a certification body that we are a training also provider, approved training provider of different courses from Exemplar Global and IOSH. We are also accredited from the IAS and IAF. we are providing different types of system management, certification, and all the training courses for health and safety. We have also our future products, which will be the calibration, the inspection, and the testing. So,
Thank you, Ms.
thank
Hiba.
you.
Thank you for joining us for this session. Rest, I'll take care of it. Mr. Shiraz, I'll be needing your help again. So that will be quickly responding on the chat. Hopefully, we'll not have events what happened in the last one. So we will start with our training today, or the session today. I'll just skip some of the slides. So to start with talking about the sustainable development goals, we need to understand why we need to have the sustainable development goals in the first instance. And obviously, sustainable development goals are helping us to improve our sustainability. So main idea why UN have introduced SDGs, Sustainable Development Goal, is to make sure we are having a sustainable future. Whatever we are doing today, always considering its impacts on the future. So this slides is just basically to show you, like, when people heard the term sustainability, they feel like it is about the business and it is about the environment and the CSR, corporate social responsibility. So first thing we need to understand, when we say sustainability, that means environment, society, and economy. People, planet, and prosperity. The 3 P's. And in sustainable development, they keep it up to 5 P's. We will see in our later slides what is 5P and how sustainable development goals, or SDGs, are ensuring that. So again, when we talk about sustainability, we are talking about the environment, we are talking about the society, social welfare itself, prosperity of the people, and the third one, planet, as the planet is for the environment and prosperity is for the economy. So I believe we got a link here in the chat box for the people joining us for the first time. We request you, if you can click on the link and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. So in the future, you will have all the updates, because we are going more live onto the YouTubes, and also there is some talk shows. We have episode release every week, and this coming Monday we will have episode from one of the sustainability expert, Miss Dana. She joined us. So Monday will be release of the episode which is for sustainability. So that will be continuation to today's session. So it will be good for you guys if you can subscribe to the channel and be the first one to watch the show once it's released on our YouTube channel. Okay. And at the same time, obviously, people who will like the video, who will share the video on their other social media platforms, will be nominating them for the free certificates as usual. So moving onward with the session that we have. So from the beginning, we are trying to understand what is the difference, or what is the sustainability, and how we perceive the sustainability. So whenever the terms come for the sustainability, we are talking about the 3 P's: people, planet, and prosperity. Means social welfare, which is the first pillar of sustainability. Then secondly, environment, and third is economy. And if any one of you have experience or knowledge about the sustainability, when we work for the sustainability reporting or sustainable development, we work around these 3 pillars. So this slide just give an overview how the UN have started thinking about the sustainability itself. Obviously, from 1960s, when the issue arose related to the environment, okay, and in 1972 when the UN have their human environment conference, it was more on the side of environment, and this concept appears for the first time in 1980s, when like the nations, they start taking the environmental issues seriously. And from 1987 things take change. People really start, or countries and the governments really start taking care of the environmental issues, and that one was quite evident in 1992 Rio summit as well. We will have a look on what is Rio summit, but before the summit we have some videos that will show you, just to let you know how important it is when it comes to the sustainable development. So we have few case studies. First one is the Nike case. Second one will have a review of the Apple case as well. I will stop sharing the screen to make sure that the sound of the system is shared as well. So excuse for that. Okay. Stop sharing because I think I did not include the system sound. This one, end screen and share.
Age of 18, I was just on the track. Go to a good college, get a decent degree, do good, get an entry-level job on Wall Street, work real hard, you get broke, you make tons of money, you're going to be retired by a very young age, house on the beach in New Jersey, a couple of Mercedes, trophy wife, and that'll be the end of the game. Done. Multi-millionaire. That's it.
Can you drop a message if somebody can confirm us they're hearing the sound of the videos?
This coaching job, teammates still coaches at University, the NCAA Division national champion, best team in the country. I was out on blast. I was loving coaching. I was loving playing. I've been living in New York. I'm also studying stuff that I really enjoy. I'm digging into like studying theology for the first time in my life in a formal way. I get online, I start doing searches about Nike, sweatshops, labor practices. And what I found was if you wanted to pick a company that completely violates everything the Catholic social teaching is about, Nike would be a perfect case study. And at the same time, doing this research, St. John's University Athletic Department starts to negotiate a $3.5 million endorsement deal with Nike that would require me as a coach to wear and promote the products. St. John's University is the largest Catholic institution in the country, coupling itself with the largest sportswear company in the world. And I said, how can we, as such a public symbol of Catholicism, do something that runs completely counter to our mission? Like we're saying to the world then, look, you should care about the poor, and we should fight against injustice, and we should seek out the causes of poverty. Well, unless you're getting some really good athletic equipment and $3.5 million. I mean, you want to talk about just hypocrisy manifested in the real world. Like, this was it. And you have a story at St. John's. He has caused a massive pilot. He is clearly an ideal. I didn't go to St. John's University to work for Nike. I went there as a coach. I was studying theology. He, like without Catholic, how does he reach the point where he thinks it's immoral to leave the school? Because he's coming at it from the
You can go from here. Go on the back. You will go back of the screen.
How many of us on a job that we really want, stop doing it so you're not where this issue will resolve. And the story. People were telling me, you know what you're talking about, those are great.
So I'm not allowed to touch my PCM basically.
People. Leslie was an actual
We came together ultimately because we share an interest in racial issues.
I eventually met back up with her a few years after school, flew and emails out, sweatshop.
I really wanted to be working with these issues.
And I wrote to my buddy and said, "Who's the woman that's writing to you about this stuff?" He said, "Oh, she's nuts like you can email her." She was actually en route to go work with Mother Teresa's sister in India, and I sent her off his email. Okay, that's a great idea. Let's get started. Wait, Tunisia.
I believe I really need to get.
She wrote me back. Great.
But yeah.
We plopped down Tangerang, Indonesia, this industrial suburb outside of the capital, part with the plans that for the next month we were going to live as a factory workers live, which meant that we were going to go live a workers' slum outside of the capital. We were going to live on the workers' wage of $1.25 a day for the next month. Try and come maybe to a better understanding of what it's like for factory workers to make this kind of live for these things. We lived in a cement box. 100 degrees, 100% humidity, a small, there was certainly no air conditioning.
No furniture. You slept on a very thin mat on an uneven cement floor covered in shelf paper.
The streets outside of your home are lined by old sewers, and that means that in the rainy season, you would have all that feces just float up into the streets and into your house.
And every time that you go to the bathroom, it comes back out into the sewer for everybody else to see and smell.
You would have football-sized rats that would stampede over the ceiling at night and come up through the toilet and look for stuff to eat in the house. Or the fist-sized cockroaches that we brought over here.
Who's over there?
Siapa nama Anda? Saya. Nama Jim.
Just like anyone around the world. You can't just drop into someone's life and be like, "Hi, we're here. We want to live in your life and tell us how much it sucks." You had to build bonds of trust. Yeah.
They treated us very politely, and it wasn't until they saw that we were committed in the factory moving from the wages that was below in conditions that were really, they felt that they started to we get to know them, we build their children, we eat with them, we share stories with them, they become part of your family.
We would go to workers' homes. We got like 4 women sleeping in like an 8x8 cement box, and all their possessions are in there. With everything in this small area.
The workers would have to share a bathroom with 5 to 10 other families. The workers would have to share living quarters. Actually, there were a row of shacks with private and roof. All those families would share a laundry corner and a kitchen facility, and they would all share the same well to take the water out of.
$1.25 a day after you pay for your rent, water, electricity, and major transportation costs, you're going to be left on average with roughly 7,000 rupees per day. How is that? That's going to buy you 2 simple meals for this special. A bag of peanuts, a bottle of iced tea, and some disinfectant. So that's your reward.
Without a doubt. We found it out the first week that we were there. We waited on $1.25 a day and maintained your kitchen dignity. It's just not.
I spent the month painfully hungry and tired. Weird those days.
I just felt my energy storage was just depleted, and I just started going down so fast, and I just started getting sick every day.
And then she got very sick in the show. She was 104, and she's got to deal with, well, I have a fever 104. I can buy aspirin and like a little drink box to get some vitamin C, but if I buy those 2 things, I don't eat for the rest of the day. smallest thing shaved, one razor that I might be able to use 2 or 3 times.
They don't get to they're sober.
The kids can go to school. How are you going to break a cycle of poverty and have real economic development if you have a whole lost generation of children who are being educated? And they see this massive pile of scrap food all around, and piles like that get dumped there all the time. And the end result of these piles is that they get burned in that village in a big open space where kids play. And the burning fumes I learned from the company that designs Nike shoe rubber will give off toxins and cause the kids. Kids are paying the price. And they're the kids. They're the kids. When we were in Indonesia, we made attempts to get into a Nike factory because Nike claimed over to Nike corporate offices, and Nike denied us that. So,
If you are approached
get paid less than Rex would do not speak to, only to speak to management or the consequences of your downfall.
and they know from their management how they're supposed to act. And if they don't get a severe ramifications, anywhere from significant harassment to death. And I mean it in a very literal sense. Certainly management of the factory didn't want us to be there, and it was kind of frightening because we several times tried to get into the factory.
We weren't out of the van for more than 3 minutes, and there was security surrounding us. And the factory managers came out.
Far outside a factory right now. Here, it's kind of surrounding us.
So, you know, what do you do? And why are you here? It was frightening, you know, because
Security got a hair trap us down.
From that moment, we were tailed by factory security and framed for the local mafia. The local mafia certainly works in conjunction with these factory bosses. Factory bosses are, some of them are just, we're hired muscle to keep workers in line. We met with one worker, Julie Hunter. He told us because he was union organized and trying to form an independent union.
he was threatened at gunpoint. He had his house ransacked. He was given death threats, and he had to flee back to his own village because, you know, in fear of his life. This is literally a life and death issue. And this happens at all times.
Every worker that we talked to struggled with this fear, this culture of fear that just permeates the air. That, yeah, they want to tell you the truth and try and fight for their rights, but they also want the kids to have father. They're dealing every day with threat of losing their lives for this. And they show tremendous courage in light of that. We were able to meet with things like Nita Sorry, who had been organizing Nike and Reebok factory workers at the age of 23 and was illegally jailed, put in prison, tortured.
Days of July 1996, our
was arrested by the army, the local army in East Java, and kidnapped and they used these arrested and their group to hurt me and to bother me. In one of the workers,
I have to complete that, right?
but we were going to be extreme. Let us know a bit to do.
We're talking about food, clothing, housing, healthcare, education, being able to take care of your kids, and some honest savings. That's not a tall order.
Excuse me, because of the 90 campuses, yeah, you're right on Walker, yeah, and 10 on your southwest corner. Okay, next.
Okay, so we're on 9th campus right now. It's a little bit different than the factories in the nation, just a tiny bit.
Nice to meet you, finally. Yeah. Listen, I was hoping to set up some time with yourself.
Really concerned about the workforce. Give us some of their living within running on the way to say, okay, to the factory workers.
Are you worried about that?
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you call my secretary?
I did. I called Lisa last week. I called Data. I called Dusty. I called Brad Triangle. I called Leanga.
They're good. They're definitely good.
Yeah. I mean, you're the guy at the buck stops and you do it.
Yeah, thanks for it.
Well, I mean, I don't know who else to talk to. I tried.
That's the kid.
I just want to talk to you.
Get you a good kid.
But you're the man. You're the man that needs to.
I appreciate your concern, but
No, I apologize. I mean, I've come all the way from New Jersey to talk to you about this.
So the reason of showing you this case study is that obviously it was quite old. It was back in 90s, and Nike have taken actions related to that, and obviously they have supply chain standards in place. I don't know, might be you guys heard about Smeta SADEX. So now obviously Nike wants all of their suppliers to be approved or assessed against the requirement of sustainable sourcing. The reason of showing you this video is that since we talk in the beginning when we talk about sustainability that there are 3 P's: people, planet, and prosperity. This video clearly shows us how Nike was having problems when it comes to people and prosperity. People was dealt in an inhuman way. They don't have even wages enough that they can have a good life. And obviously the SDGs, we will have a look on that in the later stages, emphasize on that, how to remove the poverty. That's one of the objectives there we have as SDG. Anybody want to share their feedbacks, please, before we'll move to our next case study? Their personal experiences. We love that you guys participate in our sessions, share your past experiences, share your valuable feedbacks. So I believe we can move on. Everybody is happy.
Yeah.
Nobody want to participate. No, they are waking up. Maybe for you guys listening. So this was issue with the Apple when they are sourcing from China back in the days. Obviously, it's not current. Now they have taken the necessary actions. But again, we will show you what kind of issues the labor can face and what was the hardships for the subcontractors who are working for Apple in China. So let's give it a few minutes more and then we'll move with the training sessions and talking about the SDGs.
This is where your iPhone 6 comes from. These are the first secret pictures from inside the factories that produce for Apple. An exhausted workforce, people sleeping on their breaks, others falling asleep as they work. In 2010, after 14 workers killed themselves at another factory producing iPhones, Apple published promises to protect workers. So have things changed? Our undercover reporters got jobs through agencies, and within minutes, Apple's rules were broken. Everyone in China needs to carry an ID card. Our workers' card has been taken.
Look, they said they needed to see my ID. When they got it, they didn't return it to me. I demanded that they return it. I felt helpless.
They came to work at Pegatron, where iPhones and iPads are assembled. They have to pass a crucial health and safety exam. They will. The answers are chanted out. And they're offered a choice whether they want to work nights or do work standing up. But there's no choice.
He said, if you don't do what the company asks you to do, what is the point of employing you here?
Apple told us they've seen no evidence of coaching. On ID cards, Apple says they've done more than any company to prevent the widespread abuse of migrant workers. Once in, our reporters were overwhelmed by the workload. Shifts have overtime built in, so workers regularly do more than 60 hours a week, more than Apple's guidelines. And so workers rested when they could. This iPhone 6 testing area has virtually no one awake. Apple says they've examined sleeping during production, but napping on breaks is not unusual.
Apple has been championing itself as a perfect enterprise, but it is all a facade. I don't think they care about the workers at all.
Pegatron, who run the factory, say they are carefully investigating the BBC's claims and will take all necessary actions. Apple say they work with suppliers to prevent excessive overtime and that no other company is doing as much to ensure fair and safe working conditions. What we found were broken promises on the iPhone factory floor. Richard Bilson, BBC News, Shanghai.
So again, in this example also we have seen how the workers are suffering with the bad conditions, right? Again, the idea of showing you case of these case study is that you will understand what kind of issues are there if we are not taking care of sustainability, and why the UN decided and the international members or different governments have decided to adopt the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. Obviously, they want to eradicate or eliminate such issues which we have seen in this case studies and improve the overall conditions. We are not here to criticize these companies. These were the issues happened in the past and reported by the media, and we follow the same. In this slide, we are seeing some other issues as well. There was an issue with the Shell, then obviously with our favorite chocolate brand, I believe. And then there was a false claim by Coca-Cola about the climate change, and then Mopco Egypt have a issue as well. So we'll not go into the details to save our time, and this you can keep it as a reference and you can make your own study on these things. So these slides surely tell us how important is that to work for the SDGs or to achieve the objectives or targets related to each SDGs. And obviously ISO have taken some steps. We'll discuss them as well. The first point, we'll start our formal session today, is about Agenda 2021. It was agreed back in June 1992 in Rio Declaration. It was agreed between different countries or governments to work on the improvement of environment. Obviously, the time passes away, and we realize as human beings that environmental is not only the issue that we have to think of. We have to think of our people and at the same time the economical conditions. So back in 2000, then UN came up with the idea of Millennial Development Goals. We refer them as MDGs. In there they have these 8 goals. So in Agenda 2021, that was more focused on environment. These MDGs, if you see here, it's more on to the people and a bit on environment, but this was very high level approach. and it was overseen by the General Secretary of UN at the time. And with the time, they realized that it has to be comprehensive. So from there, they work on the development of Sustainable Development Goals. In Sustainable Development Goals, which was published back in 2015, and 193 participating members of the UN, they agree on that, and they decided that they will work in their countries for the achievement of these goals. There are 17 goals and total 169 targets and 2030 indicators against which every year the relevant bodies of the UN, they evaluate the performance of each government or each country. And obviously this was implemented back in 2016 and it will end in 2030. And initially, obviously, the first 5 years it was discussed between different governments, and from 2021 up to 2030, the UN is considering this as a action years, where all the actions decided or declared by different governments from the different countries, that will be effectively implemented. So these are the 7 sustainable development goals which we are referring to. It includes the no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality of education, gender equality, clean water and sanitization, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economical growth, and so on. You can see on your screen, right? So these 17 principles basically give us a very comprehensive approach when it comes to the sustainability. And when I'm saying the sustainability, I'm referring to the 3 pillars of the sustainability, which is people, planet and prosperity, social welfare, environment and the economy. So obviously the countries, they are working hard, and UN especially working very hard, following up with each country to follow the agenda of these 17 principles, which we refer as sustainable development goals. There was a setback because of the COVID. Obviously 2 years governments were suffering. They were trying to cope up with the issues relevant to this pandemic, which all the world went through. But still, the UN is forcing and focusing on achieving the objectives which they set for that will be achieved by these SDGs. So any queries we have regarding to these 17 principles or about the histories before we move ahead, you can drop your message again in the chat so I can answer your concerns, or any specific issue related to these SDGs or sustainability where you want me to answer your queries. Please, you can drop the messages in the Zoom chat, please. I believe we can move on. Let's wait. If anyway, maybe somebody can put a message there, they are going okay and they're enjoying the training maybe. Okay, thank you, Miss Nasty. So we'll move on. So these are the 4 principles which the governments are obviously considering when it comes to the implementation or fulfilling the objectives of these sustainable development goals. First thing is to integrate the requirements of SDGs when they are planning their day-to-day matters. Okay, so we have a question from Mr. Hikmat, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Hikmat, why it's necessary to UN? Mr. Hikmat, the UN is founded by different countries, right? They are member of the UN, United Nations. And the idea of sustainability is that doing everything today, considering our tomorrow. And whatever actions we are doing it today, it will affect our future generations. If you see what we are trying to achieve by the goals, I'll go back on the last slide. We are trying that in whole planet there will be no poverty. Nobody will be hungry, right? Everybody will have a fair chance to get proper education, proper health. In some countries, there's a big issue related to the gender equality. So it's one of the SDG as well, saving the life underwater, then having a clean energy, then having infrastructure or industry which take care of the sourcing in a sensible manner, not to waste our natural resources, right? Providing equal opportunities to different segments of the society. So the idea behind this one is that to sustain our planet itself. That's why UN cares for that. It is not only necessary to UN, it is necessary for each member country of the UN. So I hope that I have answered your query. Can you drop a message if your query is answered properly, or if you have any more questions related to that? Okay. You want me to give you a shout out? Drop the link there in the chat, Mr.
Yeah, it have already given.
So these are the 4 principles. Problem was that we have seen in 1992, the governments agree on the Rio de Janeiro conference for Agenda 2021. And it was quite difficult for integration of the requirements that was agreed in that Agenda 2021, and also when they designed the Millennium Development Goals, MDGs. So first principle, they have identified that companies, obviously they are participating in a big way. So different governments have to ensure the integration of the requirements of these sustainable development goals. As I said earlier, these 17 sustainable development goals have 169 objectives to be achieved in relevance to each of the sustainable development goals. Second one is universality. If we see the MDGs, which we showed you in a few slides back, MDGs was designed for most of the developed nations. It was not applicable for the countries which are not developed or underdeveloped countries. So now that SDGs are designed in a way that is universal, any country, any government, or even any company can adopt them when they are making their high-level strategies or policies. And then we have inclusivity and leaving no one behind. Again, we refer to the MDGs. In MDGs, problem was some countries cannot follow. As I said earlier, that it seems like designed for the developed nations. So while developing or implementing SDGs, UN decided that one of the principles is that no one behind, and we have to include them in all the practices. Now, if you guys want to do a research, you can do a search on the Google with your SDG and your country name. You will find some portals or some website which is giving you the objectives of each country related to the SDGs, just for your information. So these are the 5 P's that we were talking about. We talk about people, planet, and prosperity. And in SDGs, there is additional, which is peace and partnerships. If we see the SDG number 17, which is for the partnership, and SDG, I think 16 or 15 talk about giving equal rights to everyone, ensuring peace in the world as well. There are objectives there. So in SDGs, we work on these 5 P's, which is people, planet, prosperity, peace, and partnership. First 3 P's are obviously related to the pillars of the sustainability, which is social, environment, and economy. Now we'll move to the ISO standards. How ISO standard help us to achieve or to work for the SDGs. These few of the slides or few material is taken from the ISO website. Like if you search on the iso.org and go to the reference standard, like here in this slide we quoted for ISO 9001. This standard will show you in the bottom of each standard you will find the details related to the sustainable development goals. And then we have few numbers mentioned. If you see on the left, 1, 9, 12, and 14. So what it meant by that if a company is implementing quality management system, he will be working towards achieving the objective related to the SDG number 1, SDG number 9, SDG number 12, and SDG number 14, and which are no poverty. No poverty, how quality management system can help us to fight against no poverty? By providing equal opportunities in the industry, by providing fair wages for the people who are working in our companies, and defining similar policies. Number 9, industry innovation infrastructure. Obviously, in ISO requirements in quality management system, we have specific requirements which talk about the infrastructure of the organization knowledge, which is basically how to innovate our processes, right? And then number 12 is responsible consumption and production. We can refer to clause 8.4 of ISO 9001, where we have controls on the supplier and our supply chain. So if our organization is implementing ISO 9001 2015 quality management system, he will be taking or he will be participating their fair share for the achievement of these 4 objectives. Any questions related to ISO and SDGs now? Okay, thank you. Thank you for the question. See, there is a relation when we talk about responsible sourcing and maybe the output of any organization. If you design your product, like if you refer to clause 8.3 of the standard, which is related to the design, and if it's a manufacturing unit, I'll try to make it specific example. And we did not consider how our product will be impacting the environment afterwards. You know that most of the waste, where it goes? In the sea, right? So at the design level or design phase of any product, we did not consider what will happen to our product which we are manufacturing. Ultimately, it will be end up as a waste in the sea, which will have a bigger impact on the life below water, which is SDG number 14. I hope I clear your doubt about that. See, it will not give you clearly like it's a direct relation with the SDG. Obviously, if you want to understand the whole purpose, you have to go through the objectives related to each SDG, and that there you will find all the details. We did not include in our material because then this training will become quite comprehensive. But here the idea is that to let you guys know the link or the bridge between ISO and the SDGs, and how, since we are a certification body and obviously we work for the sustainability studies and making the strategic plans for the organization and even CSR strategies as well. So the idea is that when a company is implementing or getting certified for quality management system, how they are participating in a bigger picture, in a bigger pool of where our countries are trying to achieve something in terms of SDGs, sustainable development goals. And all idea is that what we are doing for our future, what we are leaving behind as our legacy. Well, because environmental management system work as an umbrella as well. When we talk about energy management system, when we talk about water efficiency management system, and we'll find so many SDGs where if a company is implementing environmental management system will be participating. And we have numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12, 13, 14 and 15, which are respectively no poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, clean water and sanitization. Then we have affordable and clean energy, decent work and economical growth, industry innovation and infrastructure, responsible consumption and production, clean climate actions, life below water and life on land. So environmental management system, if you are implementing in your company and you are implementing the properly or fulfilling the requirements of environmental management system properly and in a comprehensive approach. somehow you will be addressing the requirements of or the objectives defined by these SDGs. And I believe we have total of 12 SDGs. Similarly, we have quoted also for ISO 45001. And if a company is implementing health and safety management system, so we'll be somehow working towards the fulfillment of objectives related to SDG number 3, SDG number 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 16. And again, I'm mentioning this material was taken from ISO website itself. It was publicly available information. Our idea was that to show you guys the importance of ISO standards and how we are working towards saving our future when we are even doing the implementation or getting certified for ISO standards. Because people somehow think like when it comes to ISO standard, they're just for the sake of getting pre-qualified or doing something minimum requirement, or if we talk about a quality management system, they feel like we're working for the quality only. But let's take a look on the bigger picture. So when a company is implementing any of the ISO standards, they are participating in a bigger cause. We are trying to again have a sustainable society, sustainable sourcing of the material, and ensuring that we will follow all the sustainability related requirements. Next, we have quoted for ISO 50001. It comes under the environment, but to a specific topic where we work for the energy conservation and energy efficiency. So obviously very clear, it helps us to have affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities, which is SDG number 11. Then we have 12, responsible consumption and production, and number 13, climate action. So when a company is implementing energy management system ISO 50001 2018, they'll be participating or sharing their part for the identified SDGs, and these are identified by ISO itself. Similarly, we have ISO 46001, which is water efficiency management system. So I'll not go in this detail. You guys can have a look on this slide. So the idea we're trying to convey here is that on ISO website itself, ISO clearly mentioned each standard and how it's or which SDGs is impacting. And here we have quoted some of the links for each SDG. ISO have provided. If you guys want, I can open the link and show you guys, but let me open, it's better, I believe. Let me pull out. So now if we go on this one, like we could got the links from ISO website. So ISO basically tell us which of the standards are there which can help us to achieve the specific SDG or relevant objectives. So goal 1 is for no poverty, right? And see,
Mr. Ali is asking what is the meaning of 13?
SDG number 13.
Yeah.
Mr. Ali, let me complete this one, the website I'm showing, then I'll come back to that question. So basically ISO itself given very comprehensive details in their website itself, and we are doing our duty by showing you all and how to get that information on your own. So if we talk about goal number 1, no poverty, see ISO 350 standards of ISO itself is helping to meet the SDG 1. And they have multiple things. Few of the standard they quoted here, like for example ISO 20400 sustainable procurement. Then we have ISO 37001 anti-bribery management system requirements. And each of the SDG, same links that you have seen on the slide. If we click on that, it will take us to the relevant SDG and how many relevant standards are there. Like for example, for goal number 6, clean water and sanitation, 601 standards from the ISO is helping to meet the SDGs. So I'll go back to Mr. Ali's question. Number 13 is climate actions. Actions which are required basically to address the climate change related issues. Directly environmental management system, we can link it to that as well when we do that. So like to better understand these SDGs, you can do your research and you have to go through the relevant objectives, because as I mentioned earlier, total 169 objectives are there, and each year, I believe in July, each country, which is 193 countries who are participating member of the United Nations, they have to submit their reports, what they have achieved every year. So every year, which start from the July, or they give the reports, then for every year they set their new objectives, and this cycle continues, and it will go until 2030. So just to conclude the training, or our last slide of the training, is that in this slide we try to show you that relevant to each SDG how many standards is there from the ISO. So we have total 17 SDGs, and we are referring to 26,000 plus standard. And if you see there, number 9, industry, innovation and infrastructure, there are 13,240 standards. The reason why these standards are so much in the industry, because ISO surely publish the standard related to the products, right? Procurement, quality, and for each product testing, there are specific standards. So there are so many standards. So this in a nutshell shows us how many standards of ISO will help to meet the requirements of each SDG. So this was our session for today. I hope that by this session you got a high level idea of what is SDG, and I tried to cover as well the definition of sustainability, and obviously the purpose of SDGs is to promote sustainability. Sustainability at the world level, sustainability at the country level, or sustainability at the organization level as well. So any comments before I'll go towards our concluding remarks for the session today?
I think there is a question from Mr. Ali Mubaraki. Is there any ISO standard direct on sustainability? If so, which standard is?
Mr. Ali, there is a standard, but that's not directly for sustainability, but it's for the CSR. ISO 26000. It's not a standard, it's a basically guide, ISO 26000 CSR, corporate social responsibility. And in doing the implementation of sustainability, where we define the objective of sustainability when it comes to an organization, sometimes we refer to the requirements of ISO 26000 or guidance of ISO 26000. We cannot say requirements, it's just a guidance document. So we can adopt that, and even if you talk about China, back in 2009 and 10, China adopted ISO 26000, and it was quite a successful case study how China have developed over the year. Like if we go back in early 2000s, nobody trusts the quality from China, and today we are sitting in 2022. Think about China, we know that China can produce quality products. So they, by following the requirements of CSR and sustainability, they change their whole outlook as a country, and also they are able to gain the trust of international market. People now trust Chinese product. It's not like back like 15 or 20 years back, where we always refer China as a cheap product or something like that. So obviously, when you adopt the best practices for the sustainability, it helps us to improve ourselves. And again, since you asked the question related to ISO standards, each of the ISO standard plays a vital role when it comes to sustainability. See, we have three pillar approach in sustainability. We have people, where we refer to the social welfare. In social welfare, we have SA 8000, we have ISO 45001, right? We have couple of other standards also which deals like all the HR related standards. There is ISO 30401, ISO 30404 and 405 as well, I believe, that outlines the requirements of human resource management. So this is all related to the social welfare. When it comes to environment, we have quoted already in our presentation three standards: ISO 14001, ISO 50001, ISO 46001, respectively, for environmental management system, energy management system, and water efficiency management system. Then also some of the organization, they are utilizing ISO 14064, greenhouse gases also, to have to know the impact. So all the ISO standards is basically helping us to achieve this SDGs. And basically, when we do the sustainability practices, we try to link our activities related to the sustainability with the objective of the SDGs, because since it's an international norm and all the countries are trying to achieve those objectives.
I think we have a question from Mr. Hikmat. Why
Mr. Hikmat,
is so useful?
I'll ask you question and answer that as well. Why we need to do the business? Because to make money, to make profit, provide job opportunities to people, serving the needs of our customers, and also giving money to our suppliers. And quality management system help us to do this effectively, to run our business effectively. We are trying to cover all the high level topics. We will try in future that maybe we'll not straight away start talking about quality, environment, and health and safety management system requirements. We don't do that. The reason is being every other company is trying to cover those requirements. So we are trying to basically identify the bigger picture here to tell you guys how these things are interlinked. Because the problem in the market is that when it comes to sustainability, most of the sustainability experts, they have no idea how ISO can be a best baseline or starting point. So you have to excuse us on that we are trying to cover high level topics, and obviously that's the reason we are asking you guys to subscribe our YouTube channels and put your comments there. If we get more requests to do a specific topic, surely in our coming future weekly sessions we'll try to cover those as well.
Mr. Ashutosh.
Mr. Ashutosh, see, one of the requirement we are talking about this one sustainable procurement, sustainable supply chain. SMETA basically help us to make sure that our supply chain is sustainable. They are fulfilling the, again, I think in SMETA we have four pillar approach. We have environment, social welfare, economy, and there's another one, it's not coming in my mind. But again, they follow the same approach of sustainability, but it's more focused on the supply chain. So surely, if you remember the case study of Nike, what happened there? The subcontractor or supplier in Indonesia was not following, right? But end of the day, result came to whom? The Nike itself. So there they start thinking of having a control on their subcontractor suppliers. So SMETA provide us the best way forward or opportunity to do a supply chain assessments or audits. So SMETA outlines very comprehensive requirements, and that's the reason most of the European companies, Walmart or etc., they want their suppliers to be compliant with the SMETA requirements.
Business ethics, that is.
Business ethics, yeah.
Labor standards will also, ILO.
That's all social welfare.
Yeah.
Business ethics, it goes for governance, corporate governance. Like high level, we call it economy, environment, then social welfare, and corporate governance. Then it becomes a four pillar approach. The business ethics goes under the corporate governance for us when we act as sustainability practitioners. You know, it's not easy to remember all the terms. So this happens. It comes in the mind and it goes. And for you guys who are more interested in knowing about the sustainability or sustainability related things, you can drop us emails. We have some specific courses related to the sustainability, and obviously our team can guide you on that. And surely we do this one, the CSR strategies, corporate strategies, and sustainability reporting. If you guys want us to work with your organization for that, we'll be more than happy to do those services as well. So I believe we don't have any more questions.
No, I don't think.
So again, I would like to thank everyone who participated in the session, and we'll be dropping the emails to you guys for next sessions, and most probably Monday we'll announce what will be the next session. So thank you so much, everyone. I'll end the session here. Obviously, the chat will be opened if you have more comments, but I'll end the call here from my side. You can drop your messages on the chat, and the team is here shortly.